I'm Davis Hammett with Loud Light. Here's what happened in the final weeks of the 2018 regular Kansas legislative session. A bill allowing 18-year-olds to conceal carry never came up for a vote and died as the legislature adjourned Friday. Kobach is being fined $52,000 for contempt of court, which will be paid through taxes after the Senate removed the provision forcing Kobach to pay his own fines. The 2019 budget, beginning July 1st, passed with bipartisan support. It gives many state workers raises, starts up delayed road projects, and reinvests in several programs that had been severely cut over the last half-decade. The House came 4 votes shy of an $80 to $170 million tax break. And a year after the partial repeal of the tax experiment, Kansas's credit rating was changed from negative to stable. The legislature fixed the $80 million school funding error in SB 423, and Governor Collier signed it into law. Legal briefs were filed in preparation for the May 22nd oral arguments in front of the Kansas Supreme Court to determine if schools are adequately and equitably funded. With great irony, the Taylor study Senator Weigel and Denning commissioned to try to prove schools were fine is now the main piece of evidence showing schools are underfunded. Weigel-Denning hired a peer reviewer to try to discredit the Taylor study, but the peer reviewer ended up confirming it. Kansas Attorney General Derek Schmidt spent his brief attempting to disregard the peer-reviewed cost study. He showed how the state corrected a few equity issues in the formula, but when it came to the adequacy argument, the courts have asked the state to show its work, which Schmidt argued is difficult or impossible. The state's brief ends with a request that if it's found unconstitutional, to allow the legislature to deal with school funding next year instead of forcing them to properly fund schools right now. The plaintiff's brief outlines how the legislative response is not based on any research, arguing that SB 423 is a political compromise, not constitutional compliance. They argue that while curing inequities, the state created new wealth-based disparities in the process and knowingly underfunded special education. The plaintiffs are asking for an additional $506 million in school funds immediately. The May 22nd oral arguments will be live-streamed, and based on the past, we may expect a ruling within 2 weeks. The adoption discrimination bill passed at 2 a.m. the night before the legislature ended session. It allows adoption agencies to receive state tax dollars and then use tax dollars in denying services to taxpayers they deem as violating their religious beliefs. The bill has received national attention as it makes Kansas one of only 2 states to pass anti-LGBTQ bills in 2018. Companies from Apple and Google to local restaurants publicly opposed the bill. Senator Fitzgerald said opposition was based on a homosexual agenda aimed at destroying Western civilization. It passed by a single vote, with several surprising supporters such as Representative Cox, Dietrich, Jennings, and Patton. While the intent is explicitly against same-sex couples, it legalizes all forms of adoption discrimination, including race and religion. The bill appears to violate 3 clauses of the U.S. Constitution and opens up Kansas to yet another constitutional lawsuit. We're done! We're done! Maybe. Be ready for a summer special session if courts find funding unconstitutional. In the meantime, Loud Light has plans to produce videos explaining upcoming elections and issues. We're also gearing up our 2018 Youth Voter Registration Program. Your donations power all the work we do to inform and engage folks in state issues like never before. Make sure you sign up for email updates on loudlight.org and get registered to vote on ksvotes.org. Stay tuned, stay engaged, and until next time, thank you so much, Kansas.